Hello dear students. Today in this video we are going to study the chapter The Plant Fairy. Now students, this chapter is very interesting and it revolves around the plant fairy. Okay. Now starting with page number 10 of your textbook. Last Sunday we went to a garden in the neighborhood. Now we here are the children. Okay, now children went to a garden in their neighborhood and we played hide and seek. What is hide and seek? Hide and seek is also known as chupan chupai. Okay, this is also written in your textbook, right? Hide and seek is also known as chupan chupai and they also played antakshari. Okay, in which the first letter is given and you have to make a song from the first letter. Okay, first letter, and then you have to make a song from that letter. That is known as antakshari, right? Now these children played hide and seek, that is chupan chupai and antakshari, and they had a lot of fun. Okay, now after some time, Didi, who was also present with the children, said, "Let's play a new game today." So Didi said, when they were playing in the garden, she said, "Let's play a new game." So we had played this game in the camp last year. Now Didi says that Didi went to a camp last year. What is a camp? A camp is an activity spot. Okay, where children are collected and they are made to play activities, right? That is known as a camp. Now Didi went to a camp last year and in that camp she played this game. She is going to introduce a new game that she played in the camp last year, okay, with the rest of her camp members. Okay, now in this game they are talking about the plant fairy. So Didi says that we will play a game in which I will become the plant fairy. Now what is a plant fairy? The plant fairy will call out a name of something and you will have to touch it. Okay, for example, the plant fairy says, "Go touch the leaves." So you have to touch the leaves. If the plant fairy says leaves, then you have to touch the leaves. If she says the stem, then you have to touch the stem, right? So Didi says that I will become the plant fairy and I will call out a name of something and you will have to run and touch that thing. Okay, now the game begins. Didi said the plant fairy asks you to touch a plant. Okay, so Didi said that the plant fairy, which is Didi only, asks you to touch a plant. So at once all children ran towards the plants to touch them, right? So what happened is Didi said, "Go touch a plant," and all the children ran towards the plants to touch them. Okay. Then what happened? Amu held the marigold plant. Okay. Amu is this girl who held the marigold plant. Marigold is a flower. Okay. Shabnam sat touching a jasmine plant. Jasmine are these white flowers. Okay. And Michael touched the mehndi bush. Okay. Mehndi is what? Henna. Okay. So Michael touched the mehndi bush here. And Dayaram caught a hold of the neem tree. Okay. These are the neem leaves. Right. And this is Didi sitting here. Okay. Now, Didi said, "Very good. Everyone has touched a plant. But have you noticed that all these plants are different from each other? Look at this picture, students. You will see that all of these children are touching different plants. Amu is touching the marigold plant. Shabnam is touching the jasmine plant. Similarly, Michael is touching the mehndi bush and Dayaram is touching the neem tree. So, all of these are different from each other, right? So, Didi, you are also sitting on the little plants," said Shabnam. So, Shabnam said that Didi is also sitting on little plants. These are little plants. Okay. Now, can you name the plant on which Didi is sitting? Look at this picture and see what are these little plants on which Didi is sitting. Now, students, Didi is sitting on little plants known as grass. Okay. These little plants are known as grass. So, students, Didi is sitting on little plants known as grass. Okay, grass is also little plant. Okay, so what is this? This is grass on which Didi is sitting. Okay, now the game began again. The plant fairy said, touch a tree with either a thick or a thin trunk. Okay, now what is a trunk? When you look at trees, okay, when you look at trees, this area of the tree is known as trunk. Okay, so Didi said, touch a tree with either a thick or a thin. That means very slim trunk. Okay, same tree but has the thin trunk. Okay, so what happened? All of these children ran again to touch trees with thick or thin trunks. Right, as you can see in this picture, children are hugging the trees. They are touching the trees. Okay. Now, have you seen a tree with a trunk as thick as shown in the picture? See, look at this trunk. Have you seen a tree with a thick trunk as this one? Michael found the game interesting and he thought how lucky the fairy was. Now, Michael is this person here, okay, is this child here who is thinking that how lucky is the plant fairy. Why is she lucky? She could order anyone. She could order everyone. Now I want to be the plant fairy, said Michael. So Michael is thinking that the plant fairy is very lucky. And why is she lucky? Because she could order everyone. She could make everyone do anything she wants. Right? So Michael says, now I want to be the plant fairy. What happens then? The children laughed aloud and said, a boy fairy. They were now ready to take orders from the new plant fairy. So what happened? They all laughed. They said that, Michael, you're a boy. So that means you will become a boy fairy. So what happens now? Michael becomes the new plant fairy and everyone is ready to take orders from this new plant fairy. Okay. So now Michael said, get me some leaves quickly. That means he is the plant fairy and he is ordering them to touch the leaves. Right? Touch the leaves. Okay, what happens? But remember, you are not to pluck the leaves from the plants. So, Didi said, you are not to pluck the leaves from the plants. She said that you cannot pluck out the leaves from the plants. Okay, so what happens? Children ran to collect the leaves which were already lying on the ground. That means the leaves that were present on the ground. Children ran to collect those leaves and they did not pluck out the leaves from the plants. Okay, then what happens? Now look at this picture. These are all of these leaves collected by the children. Do all these leaves have similar colors, shapes and margins? Now if you look at this leaf and if you look at this leaf, are they similar in shape and size or in margins? No, these are not same, right? They have different colors, different shapes and different margins. So Dayaram said, I did not know that there were so many types of leaves. Okay. When all of these children collected these leaves, so Dayaram said, I did not know that there are so many types of leaves. Look, some are round, some are long and some are triangular. Now students, if you look at this leaf is a round leaf, right? And this leaf is a triangular leaf. Similarly, this leaf is a long leaf. Now that is what Dayaram said. That look, some are round, some are long and some are triangular. Now Amu said there are so many different colors as well. First we compared the shapes of the leaves. Right. Now we are comparing the colors of the leaves. Some are light green and some are dark green. Look here. Some leaves are light green as this one and some are dark green as this one. Right. Some are yellow, red and purple. Now if you look at this picture, some are yellow, right? Some are red and some are purple, right? There is one which is green but has white patches. Now can you identify this leaf here? One which is green but has white patches. This leaf is green but has white patches, right? Look, even the margins are different from each other. Now they're saying that the margins are different from each other. Okay, margins are the edges, these edges. Okay, now if you look here in the picture, some edges are even. Okay, some edges are even and some are uneven. Some are long edges and some are short edges. Some are even edges and some are uneven edges. Now in this leaf they have even edges, right? Whereas in this leaf they have uneven edges, right? That is what they are saying. Some have straight margins and some are uneven. Some of these margins even look like a saw. What is a saw? A saw is an instrument which is shaped like this. Okay. This is the handle of the saw and this handle is used to trim objects, to cut objects, right? So, Shabnam said that some of these margins look like a saw. Now, if you look again in this picture, this round leaf has margins that look like a saw. Okay. Amu and Shabnam shouted together, "We also want to be the plant fairy." Now, Didi became the plant fairy, Michael became the plant fairy. Now, Amu and Shabnam are saying that we also want to become the plant fairy. So, Didi said, not today, maybe next Sunday. So, that means next Sunday they will again come to the garden and they will play the same game, which is the plant fairy. And then she will allow Amu and Shabnam to become the plant fairy. Right? Now, it is time to go home. Didi said that let's go home, and on the way back she recited a poem for everyone. So on the way back to home, Didi recited a poem for everyone. Let's read that poem. Now students, this poem is present on page number 13 of your textbook. Okay, and in this poem, Didi recites about leaves. Now she is saying red, purple and even yellow, some green, wet and loose. Leaves are of different kinds and of different shapes and shades. Now Didi is saying in the first paragraph that leaves are of different colors. Okay, first she is talking about colors. What colors? Red, purple, yellow and green. Okay, and then she says that they are wet and they are loose. Okay, then she says that they are of different kinds. That means they are of different types. Okay, what are the different types of leaves? How are they different? Because they have different shapes and they have different shades. That means they have different colors. Okay. In the second paragraph, she is saying, some are like elephant's ears and some are playful like the devil. Some are torn and some are folded and some are even eaten like the beetle. Okay. So, they are saying now that some leaves are like the ears of the elephant. Okay. And some are as playful as the devil. That means they look as fun, they look as of different shapes and sizes as if they are of the devil shape. How is the devil shape? Like this, right? So Didi is saying that some leaves are shaped like the devil. Okay. Then she is saying some are torn. Okay. Like this leaf. Okay. Some are torn. Okay. And some are folded like this leaf here. Okay. This leaf is also folded. Okay. And then she says some are even eaten. So some leaves are even eaten. Okay. They are eaten like the beetle. Beetle is an insect. Okay. In the third stanza, she says, in the early dawn's darkest hue. Now, early dawn means early morning. Okay. So, Didi is saying that in the early morning, the darkest hue. Hue is what? Hue means shade. Hue means shade or color. And dawn means morning. Okay, so Didi is saying that in the early morning, the darkest shade or the darkest color, you will find the flowers cry tear like dew. Okay, so in the early morning, if you look at the flowers, you will see that the flowers are crying. Why are they crying? Because they have tear like dew on them. What is dew? Dew are water drops. Okay, water drops are present in the early morning, okay, on the flowers, and it seems like the flowers are crying. In the next stanza, she is saying some leaves are like butterflies and some are like bees. That means they are shaped like butterflies and bees. Some are hairy, some have hair on them, and some are plain. Some do not have any hair. Okay, some dry up to look like thorns. Okay, like the cactus plant has thorns. Okay, right? Now these thorns are what? These thorns are leaves. Okay, these leaves have dried up to become thorns. Okay, and some even resemble cranes. Okay, whoosh whoosh scuttle and flutter. Now what is this? This is the leaves fluttering and scuttling because of the wind. Because of the wind, the leaves are fluttering and scuttling because of the wind, and they are making the sound of whoosh whoosh. In the breeze, they all do mutter. They make noises. All day long, they smile and play. Leaves smile and play. That means they fly here and there. And in the night, they sleep away. In the night, sleep away. That means leaves sleep at night. Okay. Leaves are of different kinds and of different shapes and hues. That means different shapes and shades. In the first stanza, we can see that Didi said leaves are of different kinds, they are of different types, and they are of different shapes and shades. In the last paragraph, she is saying that leaves are of different kinds, that means different types, and they are of different shapes and hues. And I told you hue and shade is the same meaning, right? Now this is the poem that Didi told the other children. She recited this poem on the way back home. Interesting poem, right? Okay students, I hope you people have now understood what we discussed in this video. To know more about this topic, you can join the EduRef Infinity Plan, log into your Class 3 EVS section, check out the chapter The Plant Fairy, and unlock the locked videos, documents and test series in less than 80 rupees a month. Thank you.